Aikido and judo both deal with forward rolling break fall, and I encourage you to make sure you watch the kneeling form of the rolling break fall and that you're very familiar and comfortable with that before you progress to standing. As you progress to standing rolling break falls, you want to make sure that you utilize the crash pad if your school has one available. No shame about being on the crash pad. Like I've said in another video, I've spent my first 3 or 4 months working on the crash pad exclusively. So anytime you're learning new Ukemi, always begin on a crash pad if you've got one available. As you're dealing with standard forward rolling break fall, again, the idea is to stick your landing. I'm not going to go into so much detail. We've covered that already in the kneeling form. You might think about standing with your feet like a letter L. And from your front hip, you're just going to start teetering over, keeping your back leg straight, lifting that back foot slowly. You will find a point where you reach the metatarsal reflex, and you have to do your forward roll. The landing, hey, we've seen this before. This is nothing new to us. So, again, we're dealing with feet like an L, tipping from the hip, and sticking that landing. Make sure that you do not let Mr. Elbow collapse, otherwise you will drive Mr. Shoulder into the floor and Mr. Shoulder becomes very unhappy with you. So you may find it helpful to think about unbendable arm. As you're pushing into the floor, you're going to roll up the side of the arm and then hitting the diagonal from the shoulder to the opposite hip. The landing is the important part. From there you can start to work toward a standing form. We've already covered the standing form from a kneeling position. It's exactly the same here. Rolling up the side of the foot, up the leg. As you start getting more familiar with your forward rolls, one of the things you can do is to change it up a little bit. You want to experiment with doing your rolls compacted. So instead of being, people will put their hand in the same spot probably 90 to 95% of the time. Get outside that box. So let your hand shoot past your foot, backwards. Make your roll get very compact. Likewise, you can jump a little bit. And you can make your roll get very big. So these are some of the ideas you can think about as you're going into your break fall. Again, if you've got a crash pad, make sure you utilize that as you're getting started, learning the forward break fall, and always learn to stick the landing. Getting up is cool, but sticking the landing is really the idea that you're looking for.